Ready?
Yep.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay. 6 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting in order. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second.
Motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's stand and say pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment time, if there's public comment.
Hi, guys. I'm Drake Riddle. Give me 1 second. While I was in the audience at your last meeting on July 18th, while you guys were discussing the claims, Supervisor Clark mentioned that the bills had already been paid and the checks had already been sent out before the board could review them. Then Deputy Auditor and Clerk of this board, Kristen Wagner, verbally confirmed this action, saying that, quote, "The checks are sent on the 15th and the last day of the month." These statements caught my attention because they make it seem that the board has no authority over claims and that are paid with taxpayer money. I remembered that at the beginning of the year, the board passed a resolution that gives the auditor the power to pay some very specific bills without prior approval of the board. So I went back and found this resolution that was passed. I have copies, so I will pass these out right now. So here are 2 short excerpts from resolution number 3-2024, which was passed by this board on January 2nd, 2024. That's the first sheet of paper that everyone has. It says, quote, the first excerpt says, quote, "The county auditor is authorized to issue checks to make the following payments without prior approval of the board. For fixed charges, including but not limited to freight, express, postage, utilities, telephone service, or contractual services." And it also states, quote, "The county auditor is empowered and instructed to issue checks for such purposes in accordance with section 331.506 of the Iowa Code." After finding this resolution, I then looked up Iowa Code 331.506. And that is your second document that everyone has. And it says, quote, "The auditor shall prepare and sign a county warrant only after issuance of the warrant has been approved by the board by a recorded vote. This means that the county auditor cannot make any payment other than those already listed without approval of the county board of supervisors first. If in fact the Page County Auditor, Melissa Wellhausen, has been making payments before the approval of the county board of supervisors, she is directly violating Iowa Code 331.506. And if anyone has any questions about 331.506 and wants to read it in its entirety, for anyone that isn't here, check on, you can just look it up. And resolution number 3-2024 is on the county website.
First of all, I'd like to answer that. First of all, the claims are sent to each of us when they're done. So it's up to us to look at them. And I look at them.
We haven't voted on them.
I look at them every time if you have questions at that point. Secondly, when the budget is approved in January, February, March, whatever it is, you are approving everyone's budget. And that covers everything. So that takes care of whatever.
Then why does
Of all the
it say,
claims.
then why does it
There's many
say
things.
in the code?
There's many things in the code that probably need to be changed that haven't been changed over the years. But a budgetary thing. Once the budgets, the individual department budgets are approved, those claims cannot be disallowed unless they are felonious, unless they're stealing or whatever. So that's where they come from.
So are you advocating to break any code that you find needs to be updated that hasn't been?
I'm not saying you're breaking the code. I'm saying that when you approve the budget, it takes care of that. And also the claims are sent to us. And so it's up to us at that point to question any of the claims that are sent.
And
Well-
we do have them available in the office.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the claims
Yes.
being available or being emailed to us doesn't, the board has to act as a group and has to have a majority to pass anything. An individual board member can't do anything. So I was under the understanding that they weren't paid till we voted on.
And
it.
this is
So
23, not 24.
It's the exact same wording in 24.
I know, because it's the same resolution that's done every
And-
single year.
If
So,
that is my mistake,
so that's
I printed it
very
wrong.
clear, and I think I brought that
So-
up, maybe even this year, if not last year, that when we passed that resolution, it was only for the fixed charges. And that this is new information that the auditor is paying all the claims without us approving them in the meeting, making sure we go through it. So I think we need to look further into this, because I was under the impression that's what
I
happened.
don't think you go through every single claim at our meeting either, do you, Jacob?
No,
No, you don't.
but we vote to pass it, we can bring up
But you
ones we have a
don't, but you
problem with.
don't go through every one at the meeting.
So, let me ask,
So
so,
we vote up or down any one we want.
One, the single ones that are sent out to us.
If we had a
that are
problem with
brought
another
in.
one, we can pull them out.
But do you ever look at the claim listing
Yeah,
that's sent to
I
you?
do,
Then why
They're all-
didn't you question that one at the time?
because I wasn't in the boardroom where we could talk about it as
But
a
you could
board.
have called the auditor's office and asked about it.
We operate as a board. You have to have majority to move. One person can't go in
Again,
the auditor's office and change something.
again, go ahead, Todd, whatever.
well, so,
Hang on, hold on, pause, easy.
can I say
Go ahead,
something? Just a question. So, I think I tried to talk about this last week a little bit, but when a department, so the departments have budgets,
Yes,
they have bills in those budgets
Yes.
that they have to pay.
yes,
Some of them are like, just like the Motorola thing, some of them
Right.
are all things that they have to take care of.
yes,
Those are all things that should be covered under what we vote at
Yes.
the beginning of the year for them to run their own budgets.
Correct.
Those departments.
correct.
I think where the discrepancy is what happens if there's things, and maybe this is different than things that come out of, that aren't like phone bills and things like that.
Fixed
and-
charges.
And fixed, yeah, the fixed charges. So if there's, we want to put new ceiling fans in or something. I mean, those kind of things usually have to be approved by the board.
Right.
Before we send out checks. and
But this
pay
one
those.
wasn't one of those. This was a
Yes, but-
contract thing.
Right, this
But
is
we-
Yes,
We've
Yeah.
said two things here, right? We've said we
somewhere.
have no power to ever do anything after the budget's
There's-
passed and no reason to even do this. And we've also said that.
I'm
we
not
should- that
saying
we
you
should
don't
go
have any
over-
power to do anything. I'm saying if the bill is not illegal,
Cause I agree that there's some things that probably should be brought to the board and we should probably talk to as a group.
when we do the boiler
But
or
at
things like that.
some point, we're signing off on budgets for these departments at the beginning of the
To
year.
do their everyday things.
To do their everyday things.
Yes.
And they don't come to us and ask us
Right,
approval on those because we give them the budget to do what they need to do.
But we sign the check. When we are the ones that actually sign the check when they go out. in a
no,
way.
you don't sign the
We
check.
give the auditor the power to sign a check for us. And the code, because she can't do anything without the board moving. She cannot, except we give her the permission to do it, cannot move it. We have to pass the budget. We have to give her permission to pay the fixed bills.
But you have approved the budget.
And anything that's not fixed, I would like to make sure we are having the chance to review and operate as a board before it's paid. That's what I would seem to simply say. So we need to make sure we have that opportunity. And if we need to have the claims presented to the board a little bit earlier, so we can look them over before they go out twice a month or whatever, that would make a lot of
And
sense.
that's why they're sent to you.
Before
email.
a meeting, it has to see.
They're
You'll-
sent to
will
you
be- yes,
email.
The board will have an opportunity to review them and talk, and vote to pass after you've paid the checks, which makes no sense. And Iowa code seems to be pretty simple here. I'm just for looking into it deeper to make sure we understand it. I mean, it seems pretty simple that we're not doing this right. So I would like Iowa code followed with the simpleness of we at least have the right to look over things in case there is something, because this appears to be being done out of order. On some of it, not all of it. The fixed costs, we passed a resolution to do that. So it is very, I did not realize that was going on like that.
You've been here for 3.5 years and you didn't realize that.
We vote on claims every week, and if voting on claims doesn't matter, I don't know why we're voting on claims.
You don't vote every week,
Well,
they're
whenever we
only
have
issued
claims,
twice a
we
month.
vote, yeah, we vote on claims when we have them.
right?
And that was to send the checks out, was what I assumed is what Iowa code says. So I would like that followed, or at least we need to figure that out.
Have you spoken with the auditor about this?
No, I have not.
Maybe you
because-
should.
Well, it looks like she's breaking all kinds of Iowa code, so I don't know who would be the one.
Maybe you
to
should talk
about
to
that.
her and find out.
If she's breaking Iowa code, ask her if she's breaking it.
Maybe you should talk to her and find out how this is done and how it's always been done.
Well, if she was in our meeting, it'd be very easy to talk to her, as she is not here almost ever.
Or if she was actually in her office at all. I went down there earlier today and asked a simple question. She's not there. The last few times that I have gone, no matter what time of the day it is, she is never in that office. I find it a disgrace. If you are an elected official, you should be in your office so people can talk to you while you're.
So you're gonna run the offices now, Drake,
Well, I'm a I'm a voter. Do I?
but
pick
you're
who
gonna
runs
run
it?
everybody's office? You're gonna go around and check when every elected official is in
No,
their
that's
office?
decency. That should be public decency. You
So
know,
she shouldn't be able to go to any meetings because she should be stuck.
Yeah,
that is an official duty, though.
Well,
She may go.
how do you
she
know?
should
How do
be
you
able to
know
go to
whether
an
she's
official
at a
duty.
meeting or not at a meeting?
Well, I
I
could say
mean, I
this,
don't, but it's just.
Then how
I
can you
find it
make a blanket
coincidental that The
statement?
last few times I have gone in there, she has not been.
How can you make a blanket statement?
Meeting with somebody when you were there today?
I did not hear any voices, no.
well, here we.
You
can
won't
just-
hear a voice when when they're in there with the door shut.
Well, you know what? We do business as a board right here in this room once a week for sure on Thursdays. And very, very rarely is she here. So very rarely. It's not.
You know
occasionally
what,
she has to
Jacob?
miss.
We've raised this thing before. The elected officials and department heads are not required to come to night meetings.
You're talking with me though about talking to the auditor. As a board, I'd like to talk in a.
Then go into
setting
her
as a board.
office and talk to her.
I'm not going in that office alone.
No, you
I
won't
would
go
like-
into her office.
Uh,
You refuse to go into her office to talk to her.
yeah, well, false statements been made by me. I will
Oh,
not go in there.
Jacob, drop it.
So, you tell me to drop it. So I like the board to do business in the boardroom with the board. You can be present, you can hear everything said and talk into. So that would be the best way to do it. But we need to look into this because.
You just want to run everything and everybody, and that's not our jobs at all.
Everything. We have a job and we need to be able to do it. We need to be able.
Our job is to do our job, and that's it, not everybody else's job.
But our job is to look over the claims as the final authority on that. And that's what it
And I
says
can tell
here.
you how it's always been done, so.
Well, you also have said in the NIC meeting that Iowa code, if you do not feel it's updated enough, should not be followed.
I'm saying there are a lot of things in the code that are not up to date.
And so you determine what is followed and is.
No, I'm not. There are a lot of things that have not been changed. They're little detail things that have not been changed over the years.
Again, you're saying not to follow the Iowa code in its current.
No, I'm not
form.
saying that.
Well, that's. So should we?
I'm not
follow
gonna
what it
follow
says?
you either, so that's okay.
Should we follow what it says? What we just read? I'm
Just
asking.
move on.
I
This
believe
is
we
just
should
like
look-
the minutes. You're not gonna go anywhere.
We should look into this and make sure we're doing it proper, is all I'm concerned about. And it's doing our job the proper way.
Oh, here we go again.
Thank you for.
I have another
Are
question.
you are you still in public comment right now?
Hang on there, Tom, just a second.
Then how did
Okay.
you were the auditor?
I did it the same way that it's being done now.
The same way it's being done now? So
Same
you
way
go-
it's
You
been
went
done
against
now.
the code for 30 years.
I guess I did, but you know what? The state auditor never, ever said a word about it. So evidently we were following what the law was, according to them.
Thank you.
Okay, we have
Okay.
anybody else there?
Tom, did you have something?
Yes, I guess while you, on that discussion, interesting, your exchange of thoughts. So Judy, on those thoughts, if you have a skid loader for $80,000, so you get bids, the board votes on that. I know you chose to spend, what, 30% more or 25? The other two supervisors did not, but that was only 80 some, $60,000. Well, right now, over $200,000 is being spent on M60, or has been spent just the last couple of days on M63, which Chuck Morris told me didn't cost the county nothing. Well, that's kind of like a generator. Oh yeah, I buy it and it's not going to cost nothing. Well, we've got a project, $3.36 million, 2 years old. You're spending $200,000 for some surface treatment. And I sent an email to the engineer, to the board members, what criteria was used. Okay, I get a response, and that response says it's something that apparently the engineer is impressed with, and that's a personal opinion. That's what you're saying right now, Judy. Oh, well, that's just your opinion, Jacob. And this bad mouthing, I think, is very immature. It's not very becoming of a leader. And just like on the windows, when you just, you scolded him about the money, but yet did you thank him for the savings? Because in the last meeting, you said, well, we can spend the money we saved on the windows for this generator. And so you make statements, Judy, that including one where you alleged I bashed you, but yet sitting as a county supervisor, a paid employee of the county, you make statements like that. And when I ask you, what did I do? You think that's not the proper place for you to reply to that. And I would not talk to you personally or meet with you because I don't trust you. I would not, there'd have to be some other people there if I had a discussion in person. But when you make that statement in a public meeting, what gives you the right to hide behind, I don't think this is the proper time? But anyway, let's get by some of this. I've got another problem. Back early, we talked about the hourly operational costs of a motor grader for the blading of Page County granular surface roads. That has not been done. How can you manage something you do not measure? And I just think somebody is not doing their job. Somebody is not being made to do their job. I experienced that on M63 under a supervisor that did not get voted back in, him and another supervisor that is no longer, that he resigned. They were doing nothing. And after months, I've got the email to the engineer, to those two supervisors. Nothing happened. Finally, I did contact Jacob. I said, you want to come out and look at this? And so we did. Still, many, many meetings. I gave the facts. And finally, somebody did get something done. The pavement marking, it's been 2 years. Nothing's been done. People talk about it. They've contacted me. And I said, well, you know, Judy, she talked about Jacob was putting the county at risk on a subject. Well, I'll tell you what, I brought it up. The county is at risk. And there's been 3/4 of that mile, north mile, people talk about that. You can't see that pavement marking at night. I know that very well myself. So I guess really, if you let that slide, then I guess this pavement marking that is going to have to be done because of this surface treatment that is needed by the opinion of one person. I guess why not let the striping go for 2 years? Let's just kick that can down the road and we'll just keep that money in the account. Maybe we'll spend it on some more better rock for the people that have to drive on those roads. And on that expenditure, Jacob made a good point. If that $150,000 that was spent back in 2020 on that excess width, the slope was too flat. It was zero slope and inverted. I pointed out to the engineer and Chuck Morris right up there on M63. If you would have laid it 2 foot, 2.5 foot wide, you could have had enough tonnage to go from the mental health north of the corner and west of Bethesda. But that came out of a budget. And so there was no oversight. And so here we have this wasted rock that's out there wider than it needed to be. And you could have done twice the miles. So that's a good point when there's no oversight. Oh, it's in my budget. Oh, you approved that. I buried it somewhere. So now I just have free reign to waste money. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay. Anybody else on public comment? Well, JD, you're up then. Come on up here. You want to go ahead, we can get started on like a couple of those questions that were emailed out. Are you prepared for that, for the hourly cost and some of those things? Do you have that
I don't have an hourly cost on the machine.
on the seal?
I have those numbers, those were Tom. On, I think on Wednesday
Okay, I haven't seen that.
or perhaps Tuesday. 24th, Wednesday. JD King, Page County Engineer update went out Tuesday afternoon. They're blading into districts, doing some rock haul on F Avenue with 3 trucks. They were hauling dirt to the pipe south of Coin with a couple tandems, mowing gravels. When they're available, the districts in the northeast and north central have mowers on gravels. The pavement being mowed on J64. We were out on M63 ahead of the fog seal work, cleaning up the edges and the fillets, intersections, and some of the guys were doing traffic control on the 2 days that we did the fog seal. They did a service on a cat mower that's on the gravels. Tandem 46 is back from Omaha, and we worked to get the air conditioner running on the motor grader number 7. The weed commissioner spraying brush and trees on the southern pavements. In the office, we're doing project paperwork, closeout paperwork on the 2 bridges, the one on 280th Street and the one on 190th Street. We're doing project development for the guardrail bridges down on J64 and for J53. The Essex North Bridge over to Nishnabotna, East Nishnabotna is being let next month. Manat's coming in late August for the J55 base stabilization. Seal coat, and they're still grinding. There's a road rock at the quarry. They haven't shifted to the rock used for the project yet. And there's a gradation included with the engineer update taken this week of that stone beating spec, passing the 200 is 3.4%. A little bit higher than the previous week, but still inside the spec. Note, the road salt that we purchased for winter operations dropped $4 a ton from $73 to $69. And we finished up the service for the fog seal on M63 this afternoon, opened the traffic at 3 o'clock. And I'm told the bridge on US 59 north of Shan is also open. The detour signs are down.
That's good.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
Questions from me?
On the J road up there, I haven't had any calls on that, but it's the heat. affecting that? Do you know anything about that?
Right, we've been, watching that,
Yeah.
see how it's bleeding.
I'm just curious if it's,
We got some chips on it. From up north.
okay. Any questions on this?
You want the numbers from the dollar amounts
Yeah.
that Tom wanted
Yeah,
to
why don't you go
know?
ahead on that one?
The fog seal with the mobilization to furnish and apply that on the 11 miles is $200,864. Traffic control using our people, the labor with benefits, equipment, and of course, this was done before the north 4 miles was complete, but it included, it was $7,320. The dynamic message signs that we warned, or that we gave a heads up to traffic using that was $6,600, and they'll bring those back. Take those back to Council Bluffs tomorrow. And we estimate the pavement marking on the job to be $8,600. That'll do all 11 miles. That's turns into $20,307 a mile.
What was that?
$20,307 a mile for that work, pavement preservation work. We're trying to take care of good pavements. We've done this across the county.
So what, in the scheme of things, with the road being a couple years old, what is the,
So we're putting a sealant across the top, and that will keep the volatiles in the asphalt from oxidizing up, to keep the good stuff in the pavement. It also penetrates the pavement, keep it better. It's not an asphalt product. It's a high-speed chemical.
Is that a special thing that we had to do because the road wasn't done right?
No,
No, okay.
so
it's a routine thing.
That's a routine thing. Like,
Here.
How often?
how often do you have to do that? Is it every 2 years or?
No, it's not every 2 years. We do it, sometimes the initial, and then a follow-up application is 3-4 years.
20,000 miles, pretty expensive maintenance. So when we do J53, it'll be asphalt in a few years, and that gets done. Will there be the same thing on that?
I would intend to wait a couple of years again.
That's what I
yes.
mean, 2 years and then seal it, or,
Correct. For that, the asphalts, like M60 and J32, J28, we put 2 lifts of asphalt on those before we did the seal. We didn't seal the first course. So over here on J53, because we have the stabilized base with cement powder, probably don't need the second lift on first. But that would be we would anticipate that sometime.
Then when would we do the pavement markings? So when you fog seal, does that cover up the markings and then you gotta go back and redo them?
Correct.
And then how long before you can get out there to redo them?
So in my experience, when I painted right away, without a bunch of traffic on the road, the paint is prone to flake off. So we wait 3, 4, 5 weeks to get traffic on that. Then it helps.
is there a temporary
fix.
things, or is there anything on the road showing the
Not
center?
right now. I do have those little tabs, and we're not plowing snow. So there's some. But yes.
Is you planning on putting some tabs or something, to show
Yeah.
if it's gonna be that long, a month or two? Have something to show the center line.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
anything else? Thank you. Okay, we're number 6 on the agenda. We have Jeff Curtis. I think he's on here. You on there, Jeff? There you are.
Good afternoon. You guys hear me okay?
Oh, we could hear you. Now you're going.
How about now?
Yeah, there you
Now
go.
we hear you.
Woo! Technology, craziness. I'm out here at the Warren County Fair, so everybody's on their cell phones and taking up all the data service. So it's kind of crazy, but quick update on the project. The contract for bid 31, which was issued to A&W Enterprises, everybody knows them as Crane Construction, has been executed. We are proceeding with getting the rest of their contractual requirements together, certificate of origin, certificate of insurance, their payment performance bonds, and everything that was outlined in our bid documents. And then we will have a small pre-construction meeting with them, going over getting everything staked prior to them turning any dirt, especially at that entrance with those trees, making sure everybody's in agreement with what trees need to come out and which trees are going to stay. So more to come on that. I would anticipate we'll see that, oh gosh, probably third week in August is what I would anticipate on that. Today, we had another meeting with our designers, Venture Architects, along with their consultants, IMEG, going over some more areas of improvement to help get the project back within the budget area. We have another meeting coming up Tuesday. From that, we'll have some dollars put together that I'll get to you folks, kind of let you know what we're anticipating. And with that anticipation, like we were talking about before, we will have some bid categories that are going to go back out for rebid. And we will also be getting the electrical bid. There are 4 contractors that are interested in bidding the electrical portion. So they are working on that. Want to make sure we don't get them going on that. And if we do some changes with, let's say, the smoke vac system with some of the wiring, it may change some of the initial quotes design area to where we'd have to have the potential of having a missed scope. So we're just going to hit the brakes on that just a little bit. It's not really going to affect our overall schedule with us getting the site prep work going. So again, I'll be in front of you guys again. I'll be down there next Thursday evening in person with more information. And again, we'll just keep in touch on a weekly basis. Any questions for me?
Any questions? That contract I signed went through.
Yep, not a problem at all.
Okay,
Sometimes DocuSign gets to be kind of finicky and we got timelines with it, but everything's good. It's back in Megan's hand. And like I said, we're getting the rest of their contractual stuff together, and then all that'll be uploaded into Procore. Then we also keep everything in our drives too for everybody to view.
okay. Is there questions on that?
Oh, sounds
Okay,
good.
thanks for
All right,
joining us.
talk to you folks later.
For the update.
Bye.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye now.
Okay. Done. Board communication.
I
Next
had a
week.
Wabansi meeting Tuesday. They will be celebrating their 40th anniversary and with a special thing in October, I believe. More on that to come.
Next week's the morning meeting, it's the 1st, right? I'm looking at that, right? Yeah,
Do what?
next week's the morning meeting, just on
Right.
the 1st, and just, so what's coming up next week? I'm trying to think of, is there anything coming right now that we know about? I'm just curious.
We're gonna have to deal with the VA issue, and Carl is working on that, getting us an opinion. Because of what the board did before and whether we want to stick with that. So,
Okay, anything else on the horizon? I'm just trying to. VA. We also will appoint, we appoint that
Is the
day?
following week after that, then, is that when we said that we were doing the
the Board of Adjustment
Is it the 8th?
adjustment, and
on the
then
8th.
Okay.
were we also voting on, with the VA, were we voting on the director?
No, because that needs to be, that
Is that
job
still-
needs to be advertised,
Okay,
and it has not been. They posted it on the door, but they posted for a position that is not,
Okay,
that we currently don't have.
okay.
So, yeah, so that, we need to discuss that next week.
Okay. Can I have that for next week? Anything else? I'm just trying to jog my
I had a
mind.
SWPCO meeting today. And then, they've been very busy with RAGBRAI, so they had almost 16,000 rides on their last couple days through County Glenwood, Red Oak and Atlantic. So that was, everything had gone well. Monday, I have a E911, or no, sorry, I have a Zion meeting Monday. I thought it was last Monday, but it's this coming Monday. And then Tuesday, I have an E911 and a emergency management, meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Are you ready for next week's meeting? No, we don't have claims today.
So did you clarify the thing that you had to question,
Yes, I heard, yeah. It was a 5-year contract
5-year contract?
You talked to
that was
Summer.
signed in 22. And, that's what I know about it. And that's what that was. Okay. So let's see here. So we don't have claims. Go to the minutes here. Okay. It's just here, duty. Look at
I have
that.
2 copies.
Just have one. I'll look at it and hand it over there if it passes. Don hadn't seen it, so. Give a chance to look at it. You done?
I
You
gave
done?
it up.
Okay, you gotta look,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I'll make a motion, amended minutes, to pass the amended minutes according to the Iowa Public Information Board guidelines.
Second,
I got a motion, a second. We'll vote on that.
Mayor,
yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
No,
motion carried. Well, we're to the adjourn again, the
I
second
moved
time
it.
tonight.
I move that we adjourn at 6:38.
I got a
Second.
motion, got a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.